Welcome, Alliance of Delray. I'm Lori Vinacourt, Executive Vice President, on this wonderful April 7th, spring day. We're going to have State Attorney Aronberg today speak, and that will be a real treat for us. We want to first welcome new members. This month, we have new member Dakota, which is a wonderful community in the Agricultural Reserve. And also, just yesterday, we had Eagle Point join us, which is in the West Delray area. So welcome new member communities. Of course, we're over 100 now. And just a few things about, important things about development. Remember, there are 10 planning and zoning applications, everybody's talking about it, in the Agricultural Reserve that we went over with, and we sent them out via email, a summary of development, and also a suggestion from our President, Bob Schulbaum, about how to handle these developments for our Planning Commission and our Zoning Commission. So we are going to now start with our first responders. I'm going to spotlight Captain Sant. Can you please, Captain Sant, give us an update? Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. So hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to start with a couple of things today. Top priority, once again, you're going to see this flyer. It'll be coming to you. We circulated it throughout the communities. I circulated it throughout our security directors, throughout all the communities and houses of worship, to get it out to the vast amount of people as we possibly can. I can't stress enough, you guys, everyone has heard me say this before, and I'm going to have to continue to say it until we start seeing a noticeable decline in this. These scams are real. Let me give you a couple examples. So if you receive a phone call instructing you to purchase a prepaid debit card or a gift card, these are typically the things they're asking you to pay for. IRS, tax payments, bail money, payment to avoid deportation, hospital medical treatments for you or your loved ones, or utility payments, and even ransom. This is real. It's happening. Every day it comes across my desk, and it's very frustrating for my position to sit here and see these people being victimized that should have and could have been avoided. So what we're trying to do is this. We're realizing that one of the best and most effective ways to protect our community is through education and awareness. That's why you'll hear me say this over and over again. We have to do a better job of getting this information out. We, per capita, in West Delray Beach, we're one of the largest retirement and senior population, I believe, in the county. And the numbers will show and demonstrate the number of cases coming in for these type of scams is disturbing. So I'm sure that the State Attorney Aronberg and his staff will working very closely with them. We're working very closely with our neighboring districts, and we're going to just keep doing our part. But folks, we need some help from you as well. Okay, so let me move on to another pressing and priority here in the district, and let alone throughout the county, is the aggressive driving that's occurring throughout the county. I'm sure you guys have all noticed it with COVID restrictions starting to loosen up a little bit. We have more vehicles on the roadway, and they're not bringing their manners with them, to say it politely. So please, I ask all of you to maintain your patience, give yourself ample time in commuting to work, to school. Please have this discussion with your family and your friends as well. We've seen an uptick as well, not to alarm you, but we've seen an uptick as well in the road rage incidents. So do your very best to smile and wave to that not so nice person that's in a rush. Don't get into an argument or even a debate at 50 miles an hour. You never know who you're dealing with out there. Okay, if it gets to a point where you feel alarmed where this individual is following you or being super aggressive, just pick up the phone. Most of us will carry a cell phone. Call us, call the sheriff's office, call 911 if you don't know what jurisdiction you're in. It doesn't matter. 911 will go right to the areas where it needs to go. What we're doing to combat this as well, where the agency has launched an initiative for aggressive driving. You'll see a noticeable uptick in patrol cars out there as well. You'll also not see a noticeable uptick in the unmarked cars. Now, if you followed me on that one, you'll see you won't see the unmarked cars as well. So please watch your speeds. If you guys have traveled down Jog Road and Military Trail through your office, Commissioner Sachs, we had received some concerns and some complaints that the speeding has been really getting out of control. So what I did was this: we launched some speed trailers along Military Trail and Jog Road. What that does for us, it takes the complaint, it validates the complaint. When people call my office and say, well, he's doing 75 miles an hour, my standard question to them is, how do you know? And it kind of knocks the person back on the heels to say, well, Captain, I really don't know, but it seemed like he was doing 75, 80 miles an hour. So, and I don't discredit that complaint because their perception is our reality. But what I've done is I put the speed trailers out there to validate those concerns, validate those speeds. That'll give me the real statistical data that I need, and the dates, the time, the most traveled location, the busiest of those areas, so I can properly deploy the right assets to those areas as well. So it's working more effectively and efficiently by knowing where our target locations are. So I'll get that report in probably by the end of this week. But in the meantime, I have assets out there now that are monitoring speeds, that are conducting traffic stops. And we're going to take a very light approach. We'll go more of an enforcement through education posture. But folks, we have to start making a switch here. And so please have that discussion as well. Slow down a little bit. All right. Last but not least, let me give you a quick update on our effectiveness of the CMV units. I know I've touched on our CMV units over the last few years since we've developed them, but we have 2 CMV units that are working in conjunction to their day-to-day responsibilities as our motor units. And just these 2 gentlemen alone, in conjunction with what they do on a daily basis with the motors, these guys have taken, just this past month, taken 2 drivers out of service. So what does that mean? That's physically taken the drivers out of service, the trucks off the roadway, because they have failed to comply with Florida state statute. They were so egregious and so dangerous being on the road that it posed a real incredible danger that they had to be removed, and the vehicle needed to be removed from the roadway. We've taken 5 drivers out of service as well. Same thing. But I want to explain something to you. I don't want to paint this with too wide of a brush here. The majority of the trucks out there and the commercial motor vehicle companies you see out there are working in compliance. They're working within the parameters of Florida state statute. So recognize that they're doing the right thing. We're getting better, but as traffic and the growth continues to grow in this area, this is going to be a continuing effort on our part as well. So if you see something, these trucks that are very dangerous looking, please let us know. We'll get to it. Other than that, I wish everybody a happy month. I hope everybody had happy holidays that just passed, and I'll look forward to seeing everybody soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your update. It's always appreciated. Thank you, Captain Sant. We're going to go on now with Chief Tony Tozzi. So please, Tozzi, good morning. Please give us an update.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me all right with the mask. I have a visitor here I'm going to introduce to you shortly, but that's why we're all masked up today. So sorry if I sound a little muffled. I want to start out by thanking the Alliance and all our friends for an amazing 2 years that I've spent with you. I've recently accepted a transfer up into the Wellington Royal Palm area, which is Battalion 2 and 5 minutes from my home. And those of you that remember having and raising teenagers, it's going to be so beneficial to my family being able to go up that close. So I loved my time down here. I could feel the love from all of you, the synergy with our team. We've got a lot of things accomplished. We've got some great leadership in place. And with that said, I'd like to introduce to you your new district chief for Battalion 4, District Chief Rob Grimes.
Hello, I hope you can hear me through the mask as well. I'll be learning from Chief Tazi here over the next few months and getting to hopefully work with all of you and get to know you more. And I look forward to providing any information I can, any assistance, and again, working with you as time progresses.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, Rob started with us in 2001. He's been here for 20 years. He's worked through every single one of the ranks on his way up. He actually worked for me and for you last year as my battalion chief. He was here a year doing that. So he's very familiar with the area, very familiar with our associations and the nuances and things that affect us that are important to all of you. So he's going to do an amazing job. I'm going to stay on, as he mentioned, as part of his transition team for the next 6 months to a year. I'm always a phone call away. I asked Dr. Vinacore to keep me on the email links to the meetings because I want to stay abreast of what's going on. So thank you for everything. Looking at our calls for the last month, Station 42 ran 469 calls for the month, and Station 45, 617 calls. That's roughly 7,000, almost 7,500 calls per year. So the guys and gals have been very busy out there running the calls. One thing I'm happy to report, those carbon monoxide calls that we had spoke about earlier in the year have come down. And I'm really happy to see that. I hope you've heeded the warnings and gone out and got your carbon monoxide detectors, and they're in place. And that's about all we have for the month. Look forward to seeing you again in the future as you join Chief Grimes, and everybody have a safe and happy year. God bless.
Great. Thank you very much for your report. Oh, as always, excellent. We have Representative Emily Schlossberg. Hello, Representative Schlossberg. Can we have an update from Tallahassee?
Hi, Lori. Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, yes. Thank you for having me. I want to say, okay, so this week has been pretty busy. I have two pieces of legislation that are moving through. One is House Bill 673, Gale's Law. That this week has passed out of all three of its committees and it's ready to go to the House floor. It requires Florida Department of Law Enforcement to create and maintain a statewide database for sexual assault kit tracking and to give victim notification. And it's named after Gail. Gail was a victim of a sexual assault, and her sexual assault kit had sat on a shelf for over 30 years. And during that time, her attacker had actually been incarcerated for the last 10 years. Nobody told her. She was living in fear, looking out her window, not knowing if her attacker was out on the streets. But really, he was incarcerated for the last 10 years. And so what this bill does, it just requires tracking and giving the victim access to track their kits through the process. So it puts some of the control back into the victim's hands, and while giving her some peace of mind. So this bill is set to move to the floor on the House. It has 2 more committee stops in the Senate. It's going to its second committee stop on Thursday in the Senate. So I'm thinking that this bill is going to pass this session. The other bill that I have moving is about safety. It would allow school districts at their option to place a camera on the long arm. So there's been an issue of cars overtaking school buses while school buses are stopped and the long arm is out. And the only way for law enforcement to actually, right now, the only way for law enforcement to enforce the law as it relates to overtaking school buses is for law enforcement to follow the school bus and issue citations. Well, this would allow school districts to put that camera on there and catch, so it would kind of allow for more enforcement of violations. And so this moved through its first committee, and criminal justice and public safety. And Senator Berman is actually the senator on the Senate side where she's working with a few other senators. So we'll see how that progresses. And then finally, today, I'm going to be reading on the floor a resolution. Tonight is Yom HaShoah, and it ends tomorrow. And it's a time for reflection of the events of the Holocaust, in which 6 million Jews were murdered in systematic and cruel ways. In the words of Holocaust survivor Eli Wiesel, wherever men or women are persecuted because of their race, religion, or political views, that place must at that moment become the center of the universe. For the dead and the living, we must bear witness. And so I have filed resolution 8001, declaring this week to be Remembrance Week, and tomorrow is Holocaust Remembrance Day. And Yom HaShoah is tonight and tomorrow. So that's something to keep in mind. And I'll be reading this resolution on the floor. And Senator Berman is also the Senate sponsor for this resolution in the Senate. So we're working together. And other than that, today on the floor, we are going to be on the floor a little bit later. We're going to just hear presentations about the House side of the budget. So each silo, the education silo, the criminal justice appropriations silo, each silo will get up and make a little presentation. And then later on this week, we'll be voting and debating on the budget. So that's my legislative update from Tallahassee.
Thank you very much for that. We do have Senator Berman's representatives here because right now she's in session. They'll be speaking in a few minutes. I'm going to have them speak after our county elected officials speak. She's getting another helper assistant there online. We're going to start with Vice Mayor Weinroth. Great to see you here.
Good morning, and it's great to be here with you. You know, we had our meeting yesterday, and we are trying to get back to a normal set of business. And certainly the pandemic is slowly getting in our rearview mirrors. As of this week, anybody who wants to have the vaccine who is 18 and over is able to access the healthcare district's portal and make an appointment and get out and get the vaccine. And I would urge everybody who wants to get the vaccine to please make an appointment and get out there. A lot of our residents now are feeling more comfortable now that the vaccine is more available. And we've been getting out, you know, there was a boat show just last weekend, and a lot of our residents were out there. I know that the people that were showing their products were very excited by the number of people who came out, and business is resuming in our county. We are very, very fortunate. We've gotten through this pandemic very well. You know, we had a discussion yesterday about how we've deployed the vaccine. And I think that we as a commission have worked diligently. And I know Commissioner Sachs is on here with me and she'll be talking, but we've all worked very hard to make sure that there have not been disparities in the way that this vaccine has been delivered to our residents. And we are working again with the healthcare district, with the state, and making sure that that vaccine is available to anybody who wants it. So I really, you know, implore you, if you have not made an appointment yet, please make an appointment, please get the vaccine, and let's all get past this and let's get back to enjoying this beautiful lifestyle. People from New York and New Jersey are flying down here to join us, and we are very excited to have them join us, and their businesses are coming here, and everything is looking great here in Palm Beach County. So Lori, thank you so much for inviting me to just say a few words today.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Weinroth. Great. We now have Commissioner Sachs. Please, Commissioner Sachs, great to see you today. Please give an update.
Thank you so much, Lori. And I appreciate Vice Mayor Weinroth coming on because he says it so well. He has really been one of our leaders in making sure that everybody gets the vaccine who wants the vaccine. And as you know, it's been an issue that was highlighted on national TV about who gets the vaccine here in Palm Beach County. We are united as a county commission. As everyone is aware, the seniors are first in priority to get the 3 vaccines that are available now. At the very beginning, we only had 2, but seniors were first. And I have to be very proud to say that Kings Point and Century Village were the first two senior communities in the state of Florida to have the opportunity to receive the vaccines. And the reason that they were chosen is not because of wealth. Certainly, we all know that that the people that Kings Point was established over 30 years ago for retirees who were EMS workers and teachers, retired teachers from the Northeast. But it was because there was the highest number of deaths occurred in the Kings Point area from COVID at the very beginning. So it was targeted to be one of the first to receive the vaccines. They did extremely well. And let me just say, as a county commission, that 68% of all seniors in Palm Beach County have been vaccinated. 68%. That means that we have the highest number of vaccinated seniors of any county in the entire state of Florida. And that is due mostly to the people of Palm Beach County. They've been very patient and they have committed to getting on waiting lists and things like that. So really the compliments go to the people of Palm Beach County, and especially Dr. Vinegar, to your area here in the Western reaches, which is where we first started with the vaccinations. So I'm very pleased with that. I have also been watching, and you have been reporting very well again, Dr. Vinegar, in your newsletter about the rash of car burglaries that have been occurring at many of our HOAs and our locations here in West Delray. So what we did is I'm a former prosecutor, so I said, let's enhance penalties for those individuals who are prosecuted and convicted of coming in as a gang or as an organized ring of people to come in and perpetuate these rash of car burglaries. Many of them are done against our firefighters and against our law enforcement officers. Late at night, they come in and they try to break in the cars looking for firearms. So that is going through the legislature. And I'm sure we have Representative Schlossberg with us. She's going to keep an eye on it as well. But the sponsor of the bill is our own Representative Matt Wilhite, who has sponsored it in the Florida House. There are numerous sponsors in the Senate. So we're looking forward to making sure that it gets through, because that bill targets a crime that has been occurring right here in West Delray. And thanks to the Alliance, we knew about it and we wrote it, we drafted it, and it may pass. So we'll see. It's gone successfully through the House, and hopefully it'll get through the Senate as well. You have also been very good and I compliment you, Dr. Vinegar, for putting down the 10 issues of zoning requests that will be coming before the County Commission, either sitting as a board or sitting as a zoning board. Your summaries are excellent. You get it, you understand it. We will be reviewing them. I need to get more input. You know, before COVID, you could all come into the County Commission and hear our meetings and express your views. Now we rely on your emails. So keep the emails coming to my office. We review every one of them. If somebody is not getting a response, call me personally and I'll make sure that you get it, because I'm here for you. And of course, I just want to say a few words that we lost Representative Elsie Hastings this week. It's a great loss to all of us here in the community. He was really a legacy for many, many years. And so we will remember his legacy and always try to work, as he would say, you know, within the system, but bucking the system when it came to taking away anybody's rights. So with that in mind, I'm Maria Sachs. I'm your county commissioner. I'm here for you. I'm fighting for you. And I look forward to seeing everybody personally very soon, because I think the light at the end of this tunnel is getting brighter and brighter. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We did have someone, just to let you know, and you don't have to answer this now, if you could just write it in a chat, the email for the portal. That's what I've been asked for. So if you can send some information about the newest information on how to sign up for these, for the inoculations and all, that would be great. If you could send it, and then we'll put it out to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much.
I will, but, and you know, Dr. Vinegar, there's a number of them. If somebody wanted to get the vaccine, you can get the vaccine. So I'll put out in the chat all the different ways to get the vaccine, because there's no one way now today, and you can go in without an appointment. So I'll add that, the whole list of them, as I remove myself from the screen.
Oh, thank you very much. And that'll be good.
Thank
Everybody will see that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
We see that our keynote speaker, Dave Aronberg, has come, and we're ready soon, very soon. We just have two more brief presentations here. We have our wonderful Vice Chair of the School Board, Karen Brill. Please, can you give us an update? You're on mute.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good morning, everybody. And I will not keep you long since our fabulous DA is here, Dave Aronberg. So I do want to tell you that we at the district are trying to help our district employees to get vaccinated. And so last week we offered vaccines at several different locations, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, to our employees who are ages 40 and older. Having our employees, especially our school-based staff, vaccinated will help us facilitate our returning to some semblance of normal for the next school year, which, it's hard to believe, is approaching very quickly. We end this school year in June and begin just a few weeks later in early August. So we really want to make sure that everybody is safe. We will be announcing, the state as well as the federal government is pushing to make sure that we get every child back into brick and mortar. It's better for them emotionally and academically. And so we are now in testing season, and unfortunately many of our exams that the students take cannot be done online. The majority of our students are coming back into the schools. We're staggering them, okay, and we're keeping social distancing. But we are getting them back in the schools for testing. But at the same time, we're continuing to lobby in Tallahassee to remove the high stakes again this year, so that students and the schools are not penalized, because this has been a very difficult year. Simultaneous teaching, that is having teachers teach the students in the classroom along with those who remain virtual, has put a tremendous strain on our teachers, our students, and our parents. And some schools, such as Atlantic High School in Delray, still only have a quarter of the students in attendance in brick and mortar. So all efforts are being directed towards getting those students back in the classroom for next year. Again, we know that the educational and emotional toll of this pandemic will be with us for many years going forward. And so you're going to hear more from me, and then, or actually from the district, in the coming weeks about our efforts to provide summer learning opportunities for our students who are still struggling academically, and we will also be finding ways to provide psychological and emotional support over the months that come ahead. So that's all for now. As always, I look forward to our being able to see each other again in person very soon. As my son tells his colleagues at work, getting vaccinated, we do it for ourselves, but we also do it for others. So stay safe, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, we have, right before we have our state attorney speak here, we have, and from Senator Berman's office, because Senator Berman is in session right now in Tallahassee, we have Abby Ross just to give us a brief update from the Senate side of the political venue up there in Tallahassee.
Thank you, Laurie, or Dr. Vinegar, and yes, we'll try to give you some updates on what's going on in the Senate chamber, and also my coworker Daniel Delagrange, who many of you know, has joined me, and we'll try to be quick because we don't want to keep Mr. State Attorney waiting. We know his time is precious. And thank you to all the other speakers. And it was nice to see Representative Schlossberg and School Board Member Karen Brill and Commissioner Weinroth. So thank you all, and Commissioner Sachs. So thank you all so much for what you guys do. And I know the Senator would love to be here if she wasn't on the floor debating some pretty heavy bills today. We'll try to give you a quick update so we don't take up too much of your time. I know many of you know Senator Berman's priorities and kind of where they often lie, but just to give you a little recap, I'm going to dive right in. There's several items that we do have moving, and we're very happy and pleased to report that. One of those is a bill called Water Safety, and it's not a mandate, but it would ask parents who are entering their children into, whether it be public or private schools, at the kindergarten level or any grade level. So whether they're starting school for the first time or even, a little older, they would be asked to share whether or not their child has had age appropriate swim lessons. And if not, or if they're willing, they don't have to share it, but if they're willing to share that age appropriate swim lesson information would be provided to them on swim schools and free or reduced swim lessons. And of course, a lot of our localities offer that, especially in the summertime. We know that swim and drowning prevention is a big issue for our state. The bill is named after a little toddler who passed away from an accident, a tragic accident. And this is all too common, not just South Florida, all of Florida. Of course, it happens in other states too, but primarily, in the states that have a large number of pools. We have a number that there's an estimated 1.5 million pools. There's probably more than that now. I think that was a figure from a year or two ago. So it just goes to show you, it's just a tragedy, and we'd like to prevent that. And we're working with a lot of great folks on the bill. And we are hopeful that it will be moving through the process. It got one committee pulled off, which is kind of unheard of. So that was really exciting. And we think we're on the right path. Second, many of you probably already heard of the Purple Alert. This is the third year that Senator Berman has filed that. And that would be the first ever of its type to have an advisory system for intellectually or developmentally disabled individuals who go missing. It targets folks, especially on the autism spectrum, but anyone who falls within that cognitive disability category. It is not currently with the Silver Alert, it really focuses on our senior population, which is of course very important, but this alert would sort of focus on 18 to I think 60 that the Silver Alert doesn't cover. Of course, Amber Alert is for minors. So there's a large swath of our population that may not be addressed if we weren't to pursue this Purple Alert. So we do feel very strongly that it is important. We have learned of and kind of monitored, and PBSO probably is aware. There's been scenarios where adults go missing. They're not able to use their verbal skills and communicate. And sometimes in the story that we learned of, and what inspired the senator, is that a young man was disheveled and gave an appearance of either being maybe drunk or on drugs, and people mistook that. And I'm sure, I keep saying, I probably would have done it too. He was at a gas station and couldn't communicate well. So this alert would help individuals who might go missing and make those of us aware, and people at gas stations, convenience stores, so that we can try to help unify the person with their family. Third, the sales tax exemption, another bill Senator Berman has filed for many years, and that would exempt very narrow items, including bed rails, shower seats, grab bars, and transfer handles for seniors to help age in place. And we've now realized with COVID that this is that much more important. It really is a small ask. Those items are tax exempt already if you have a prescription, but this would allow people who don't have a prescription, and including, it doesn't just have to be a senior, including somebody with a disability or maybe even a wounded veteran, to get that tax break. And it's, not a large sum of money, but I think it would go a long way. And that's something that Rep. Casello is working on as well with us. So we hope to bring that item back to the district and talk proudly about it if we can get it through. The last thing I'm going to mention, this is a new one for us, is called lactation spaces in courthouses. And this was brought to us with the guardian ad litem folks, as well as the Association of Women Lawyers. And it would require courthouses, each county courthouse, to have a space for women to lactate as needed. So it could be jurors, it could be staff, it could be any personnel or attorneys who work in the courtroom. And currently, I believe many of our courthouses do have this space, including ours in Palm Beach County, but not all of them do, and especially in the rural areas. And there is grant money available through the Florida Association of Women Lawyers to help make this possible. So we are trying to shepherd that through as well, and feel that that's good public policy for the state and pro women, but pro family, of course, too. So if, you know, whoever may need to use the room can use the room. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I know that's a lot, and we're always happy to answer any questions. I'll throw our information in the chat while Daniel goes ahead and gives a quick update on appropriations, if that's okay.
Oh, thank you very much. I think we really need to move on. So thank you very much. That was excellent with hearing about the bills and all. Thank you very much, Abby and Daniel, for attending today.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
These are 2-minute presentations, but today they're a little longer, but we got a lot of important information. That's terrific. We go on to State Attorney Aronberg, and he will be here very shortly. In a second, I'm sure here he is right there. There you go.
I'm here.
Like you, and I'm going to say a few things, though. I have to say just a few things, that he is a former Assistant Attorney General, White House Fellow, and our Florida Senator. But most importantly, he was elected State Attorney for the 15th Judicial Circuit in November 2012 and re-elected without opposition in 2016 and 2020. We are so happy to have you today to speak here on our COVID-19 scams and any other fraud-related alerts you'd like to provide for us. Thank you. Go ahead, State Attorney Aronberg.
Thank you, Dr. Lori. I hope you had a wonderful birthday.
Thank you.
Happy 39th. And I'm honored to be back on. I was a couple minutes late because as I was walking, I was having breakfast this morning with the DA from Massachusetts, I think from Suffolk. And I know him from the National Association. So I was walking back to work, and Channel 25 was out there, and they stopped me and they say, "Hey, where are you going?" And I said, "Well, I'm rushing to do a Zoom call with the Alliance of Delray." And they said, "Oh, can you tell us about it?" So we did an interview about this interview. And and so tonight, Channel 25, they'll talk about senior scams. And I try to give the Alliance a plug. We'll see if it makes the cut. You deserve all the credit because this is an outstanding group that is always out for the betterment of the community, all of the community. And you can tell how powerful this group is because look at all the bigwigs you've got on this call. Thank you all for all the nice plugs. Abby, thank you for saying that. Madam Vice Chair, the school board, she's amazing. All the commissioners, thank you. And of course, my friend Chief Tazi, who I know from high school, believe it or not, it's his cousin. Mike Tazi, right? Cousin, not brother, or is it brother? Is it brother or cousin?
Brother.
It's your brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I'm sorry.
Don't be
His brother,
sorry.
Mike Tazi, was the heartthrob in high school, as you can tell, because you know Tony is that way right now. But so his brother Mike was the heartthrob. I was in the library, not just with my head in a book, but. Tony, it's great to see you and everyone. All right. So I'm going to give you a presentation about senior scams. We're going to talk a little bit about vaccine scams and see if I can do this. In the meantime, I've been branching out on some of the media. I do Morning Joe once a week, and thank you for watching if you do lately because of this Florida man up in the Panhandle who's a member of Congress. I've been doing some CNN interviews. People want to know about the crime of child sex trafficking. So if you have any questions about that, I can answer that as well, because that's something that we do a lot of here as far as the prosecutions and investigations of that type of crime. And if you're wondering, just a spoiler alert, yeah, I do think he's going to be indicted, and I think he is facing serious prison time. At the federal level, child sex trafficking is punishable by a mandatory minimum of 10 years up to life in prison. So you're not going to see a slap on the wrist there. All right. Can you all see this presentation?
Yes.
All right, great. See if I can move it. I have it on a different screen, so my eyes are, all right, well, now I'm looking at a different screen, so I'm not looking, I'm not intentionally looking away from you. Oh, let's see. All right, let's go back. So crimes against seniors. You remember that first slide I just showed you? That was oh gosh, how do I go back here? Hold on. There we go. That's McGruff, the crime dog. Remember him?
Yes.
Remember his slogan, Dr. Lloyd? What did he say?
Oh, I don't know.
Can anyone on the chat or somebody tell me what's the slogan for McGruff, the crime dog? I think Tazi would know.
Take a bite out of crime.
There you go. I knew it.
Wow.
I knew you'd come through. Take a bite out of crime. There you go. Thank you, sir. All right. Crimes against seniors, you have seen an increase, sadly. And in Palm Beach County, you get all these miscreants that descend upon our community to target seniors. And it's really important to be vigilant. My parents called me a couple months ago in hysterics. I was in the chair getting a haircut, and I saw the call from my parents. I picked it up, and they were practically in tears because they told me that they had just received a phone call from my sister, my younger sister, who lives in Delray, and she was calling from the jail where she was arrested for hitting a pregnant woman's car on the road from behind, and she got major injuries. So they took my sister to jail, and my sister's friend's father. So my sister's friend's father got on the phone after my sister called to say, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I can help her get out of this. Send me $10,000. And my mom said, well, let me call my son. He's the state attorney first, because she was all hysterical. And he said, do not call your son. I don't care if he's the president of the United States. He cannot help you with this. I can help you. I know your daughter, and I can help get her out of this. I'll take care of it. Send me $10,000, wire it over right away. So my mom, who believed that it was indeed my sister on the call, because the person who called was in hysterics, in tears, and who supposedly had a cold. I'm fighting a cold. And my parents then, thankfully, they called me. They said, I've got to call my son. And they didn't listen to him, and she called me. And as soon as she started telling me about this, I said, Mom, calm down. What you got is a scam. This is a scam. Have you tried calling Jill? Jill is my sister. No, call her right now. So they call her and they start, Jill, are you in jail? Are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. So I felt terrible about it, because this is a scam that many of you know. It's been going on for some time. And I never told my parents about this scam in advance. And I could have avoided a lot of heartache and hysterics if they had just known about this in advance. And, you think that it's such a crazy scam that no one's going to believe it. Well, my parents did. And thankfully, they were able to call me before they sent any money. And after they called me, this guy kept calling her back multiple times. And I said, Mom, and she called the police. And I said, Mom, if they call you back one more time, I'm gonna answer the phone. Okay, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna answer the phone, and I am going to scare the living daylights out of them. But unfortunately, they didn't call back a fourth time. So that's my story. And if it happens to me, it's going to have my family. It can happen to anyone. And so I just give you that as a warning. There are terrible people out there, and they're really good at making themselves look and sound legitimate. They are not. And please report it to law enforcement when you get this type of call. So we get about 70 to 100 cases of elder abuse or fraud at one time. Like right now, we're dealing with probably somewhere about 80 cases at present. And they use a variety of methods to trick or defraud seniors. I just gave you one of them. And why seniors? Well, seniors are more likely to have a nest egg. They own their homes. They tend to have very good credit from years of prudent living. They're not like the millennials, living on borrowed money. Sorry, millennials on the call. Seniors are targets for that reason. And also, if you grow up in a different generation, you're from a more trusting era. You know, there was no internet where people come inside your home through the internet to scam you. You know, also seniors may be embarrassed about reporting crimes. And so these crimes are underreported. So please, please report it. If you see something, say something. And also there's the feeling that they may not be a reliable witness. We have been able to get convictions though, in these cases with seniors who may even have diminished capacity. We're able to put together enough evidence to get convictions. So that's why we want this to be reported to law enforcement. There are, however, some obstacles. There's a statute of limitations. So if it's delayed reporting, it makes it a lot harder to prosecute. We may be barred by the statute of limitations. Usually it's about 3 to 5 years from the time of the offense. And then there are sometimes there are capacity issues, and that could be a challenge. Although, like I said, we're able to get convictions anyways. And then there's the lack of cooperation. You know, Dr. Laurie, in what crime do you think we get the least amount of cooperation? Pick a crime you think that we get the least amount of cooperation. It is not crimes against seniors. What do you think is
Rape.
the most uncooperative victim?
Rape.
You're in the neighborhood, but
Or
not,
being taken advantage of monetarily, maybe.
it's actually
Scammed.
domestic violence.
Oh, domestic violence.
Do you know that more than half of our domestic violence victims do not cooperate with us? More than half. So and we prosecute those cases anyways. If we have enough evidence, we have a 911 call, if we've got extrinsic evidence, we're going to prosecute those cases because we know the control that the perpetrator has over a domestic violence victim, and we're not going to let him take advantage of that to avoid accountability. When it comes to crimes against seniors, we do see that some people are embarrassed and they don't want to report it, and they're afraid to report it to their own families because they fear that if they report it to their families, then their children may try to move to have a guardian appointed or take away some of their freedom, take away, you know, their ability to run their own finances and even drive. And that's why it's important, though, that it is reported, because you know it only gets worse if you don't report it, because you get on a suckers list. And then all these scammers start descending upon you. They know who the suckers are, and you got to stand up and report it, even if you did fall prey to one. And it doesn't mean you're a bad person. And I'm sorry to even use the word suckers, but that's what the perpetrators use. But you want to report it because we can help. You know, law enforcement, prosecution, we can help. We can often help get money back through restitution orders. And one other thing, there are a lot of questions about contractor scams. People say, hey, a contractor came, he got hired, and then he started and then walked away. That is not necessarily a crime. It's what the intent of the contractor is at the time. So if someone intends to actually fulfill the contract and just runs out of money, or just an incompetent business person, that's almost impossible to prosecute. Instead, you've got to go after them civilly. You can sue them, but we're not going to be able to prosecute them because it's got to be a scam. It's got to be a fraud. It's got to be someone who comes to you knowing they're not going to complete the job, knowing that they are intent on scamming you. And one way you can prove that is, look, this guy has done this to 8 other people. There you go. That's evidence of a scam. That's evidence of intent. If they didn't even start the job, that's evidence of intent. So what happens is they often take a large deposit and then they stop showing up. It just depends, as I said, if that person had the intent never to complete the job. It depends whether we can prosecute it. By the way, I think that video, I think that's Jason Sudeikis when he was on Saturday Night Live, who's now known as Ted Lasso. If there are any Ted Lasso fans from Apple TV, please let me know in the chat. It's my new favorite show. Oh, look at that. Here's the answer. It depends on what was in the mind of the perpetrator at the time of taking the money, just like I told you. By the way, if a guy shows up at your door looking like this, don't give him money. The devil never pays restitution. All right, here are some of the scams out there. Investment fraud, timeshare. Oh, timeshare fraud. I mean, telemarketing. Yeah, we see that. We see that a lot. Contractor fraud. I mentioned that. Misuse of a senior's funds by guardian. We work with the clerk's office to go after guardianship fraud. That's unfortunately too common. The laws may need to be tightened statewide on that. You've got exploitation. And here are some schemes. All right, Dr. Lori, who's that? You know who that is.
Oh, that's from the Brady bunch.
Right, but if you don't know her name, I'm going to go back to Chief Tazi because I know Chief Tazi knows her name. Well, Dr. Lori, remember her name?
Is it Alice?
You're awesome. That's Alice. All right.
Okay, I got 1 out of 3 questions today, correct?
Oh,
Oh,
she was in the middle. Wasn't she in the middle? She was in the middle of the Brady Bunch squares, and
Yeah.
she was great, big star of the show. Okay. Congratulations, you want a brand new car, but we need some information from you first. Nowadays, you know what the big scam is? Please call us about your extended vehicle warranty.
Mhm.
Everyone gets that. I get that. So I get that multiple times a day. And it doesn't mean it's a scam. It's just there's some of them who are scams. They're trying to get your personal information. Others just want to sell you an extended warranty. But either way, don't go with anyone just calls you randomly on the phone. Even if they're not trying to scam you, it's probably not the best business. If that's their business model, to randomly robo-dial you, hang up. Don't even call them back. Don't even, if they get you in person, just hang up on them. It's okay. They don't take it personally. They've got 1,000 other people to try to call. We're calling from the IRS, DMV, you need to pay up or else. Oh, yeah, I love getting that too. I've gotten those. I love that. Threatening me with prosecution. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, you're okay. I know that's a scam. The IRS is never going to call you and leave a message threatening you with prosecution unless you call them back. Hi, Grandma, I'm in trouble in Mexico. I need you to wire money. At first, I thought this was too preposterous, but then it happened to my own family. So be careful about that. That was hot for a while, and it seems to have died down a little bit, but you know, it just, if it succeeds, it'll pick up again. It's an automated call from your bank with an important message for you. Please input your social security number. Click. Don't ever, ever, ever do that. Don't ever do that. Okay, vaccine schemes. Here are our final slides. I know most of you have received the vaccine, maybe all of you, but if you hear of anyone who's charging for the vaccine, they can't. They can, however, charge you up to a $15 administrative fee, but they don't charge you directly for it. It goes through insurance but they can charge up to $15, but no one does. If someone is charging you a $15 administrative fee, go somewhere else, because although they could technically under the law, no one really does in practice. They can't deny vaccinations to anyone who does not have health insurance or uninsured or out of network. They can't charge you an office visit fee if the only service provided is the vaccine. Now, if you go there for other things, yeah, they can charge you an office fee. Require additional services for a person to receive they cannot require you to get other services. Hey, we'll give you a vaccine, but you also have to do this. That is a scam. They can provide you other services, but they can't require it. Here's how to prevent it. Don't pay to sign up for the vaccine. Anyone asks for a payment to put you on a list, get you an appointment or reserve a spot is a scammer. Ignore the ads that try to promote the vaccine. Legitimate providers are not going to put out ads or call you on the phone with telemarketing or internet solicitations. Watch for unexpected or unusual texts. Yeah, make sure that the source is reliable. It's got to be from like the health department. There was a slide, there was a thing that make sure the only people you listen to are from the health department. But in reality, in Florida, Publix is doing a lot of the vaccines. So if it comes from a reliable source, like if Publix is telling you something, then it's probably legit. I mean, they're the biggest providers of the vaccine. And if they're telling you that, that can of peaches is BOGO this week, it's probably right too. And if it's not, you get Publix Promise, which means you get it for free. Don't open emails, attachments, or links from people you don't know. Yeah, you know that from before. And then lastly, don't share your personal financial or health information with people you don't know. That's something we're taught, but it's easier said than done. There are a lot of people who will get your information from you in very sly ways. Just got to be really vigilant about that stuff. Once they get your personal information, then if you think the calls are bad now, it'll be much, much worse. So here are some other things for prevention. It's good to see a doctor regularly to make sure that if there are some issues, cognitive issues, that you address them right away. Always ask to seek a professional's license and learn how to verify it. Make sure any contractor is indeed a licensed contractor. They say, I applied for my license. Well, I'm going to wait till you get your license. I can't show you the certificate. It's in the car. Well, I'll wait until you bring it over to me. Of course, become internet savvy, remain as social as possible. If you see something, say something, basic stuff that we all know. Don't give out your personal information. Obviously, we know that. There are no Nigerian princes with large sums of money to give you. I'm sorry. There are no lottery winners who need money from you so they can get their prize. Again, that usually comes from Nigeria. Stay away from anyone trying to get you to send money via MoneyGram or on a green dot card or Western Union. The scammers love Western Union. They love MoneyGram. Stay away from that. Make sure if you're going to send money Western Union or MoneyGram that you know for sure it's someone legit. Like you know for sure it's a family member or a friend. It's not just someone you met on the internet. Law enforcement, even during COVID, is on the job 24/7, and our prosecutors are always working every day of the week, every week of the year. If you go to the Gun Club Courthouse, we do first appearances every day, regardless of holidays or pandemics. I work on Christmas Day and others to make sure that it's staffed on every day of the year. Because if you get charged with a crime, you go to that courthouse the next day, regardless of whether there's a hurricane or a holiday or a pandemic. And remember the wise old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If you see anyone like that showing up at your door, close the door on them and call police. And that is my presentation. I'm happy to take questions about this or anything else.
We'll give everybody a moment to ask any questions. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spotlight. Can you come off of the screen share now? Stop the screen share. You can do that. Oh, I can do that too, I think. Or maybe you can do that so that I can put you back there. Great. I want to put you back there. I'll wait a minute for some people if they have any questions. This was excellent. I do have a question for you. The Alliance has been approached, and many of our communities have been approached by clinics that say that they would like to bring the vaccine into the communities. But then we have all these other things to offer, like we're a mini hospital. We can come, we do x-rays, we can take your blood work, we can do a CAT scan in your home, an MRI, whatever it is. They're trying to offer many other things, other services along with the vaccines. What do you think about that? Because what I'm concerned with, I've seen the paper that you have to fill out. Many times it asks for your health information and for your insurance information. So if these clinics come into the community and and they could be legitimate clinics, they come into your community, and then they're going to be able to have all this information from all of your residents. That doesn't sound like it's a really good thing for communities to do.
Right. It is up to you and the leadership of the community to make the decision whether to bring someone like that in. It is not a scam for these clinics to say, I would like to come in, provide the vaccines, and offer other services. As long as they're offering it and not requiring it, it's not a scam. It's up to you, though, to decide that's what's best for your community, because they benefit in multiple ways. They bring you in with the vaccine, and then they try to sell you other things, which is, again, that's business. That's not improper. But also they can collect your personal information. Anyone who's a healthcare provider has access to your personal sensitive information. And so these are, I can just tell you from a law enforcement perspective, it is not illegal. It is not necessarily a scam. What I'm hearing is just, a business practice that you would have to determine whether the trade-off is worth it.
Still, it would appear the easiest things for residents to do right now is to go to a Publix or any other place in the county that is providing these inoculations. And right now, that would probably be the easiest thing, I think, for our communities, because we deal with our boards, the presidents, the leaders of the whole Delray and South County area here. That would probably be the best thing for them to tell their residents to do, to try to get an appointment as soon as possible, just for that shot.
Correct. I
Whenever
strongly
they can.
urge getting the vaccine. It's open to everyone now. I got mine last week and no side effects, thankfully. And yeah, as someone who had COVID, I had COVID in July. It was no fun. It's way worse than the vaccine. I didn't have any repercussions from the vaccines, and the people who I've heard who had some repercussions, it was over just a couple days at most, and they're much more minor than the virus itself.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Now, we don't have any questions. Jim, you raised your hand, Jim Rosenthal, and I know you, but you have to put the question, you have to write the question out. So if there is a question, Jim could write
I
by.
do see, Laura, Dr. Laura, I do see some questions here. If I can just address them real quick. Let's see. Paul Finkelstein. Hey, Paul, do you have a dog to take a bite out of crime? Yes, Cookie, the Basset Hound of Justice. I do. I had her in a slide, but I showed you that slide a few years ago. I didn't want to repeat it. But she's doing fine.
Yes, the people have written in the chat a question, right? Can you do anything about robocalls?
Robocalls come under the FTC. You should report them to the Federal Trade Commission. You can get on the do not call list, and if they call cell phones, that could be a violation. But the people who enforce that's the Attorney General's office, and they have an office right here in West Palm Beach. They enforce violations of the do not call list. Also, the FTC enforce those violations. Those are the agencies that enforce those violations, because those robocalls are almost certainly coming from outside the county. We deal with the crimes of locals here inside the county, but the AG's office, they have people who do that kind of work. Also, like I said, the FTC focuses on that kind of work. They can fine these companies for doing that. And the penalty is a fine. That's another reason why it's not done out of this office. Our office only deals with crimes, things that involve jail time. And maybe it should involve jail time for those robocallers, but the law is the law. And that's why it's in the AG's jurisdiction, because she deals with civil matters, and the FTC, and not this office.
Well, that's terrific. Thank you for that information. What we were asked earlier was the portal, emails, and whatever for that vaccine, what portals to use. Now, I'm receiving information from Vice Mayor Weinroth, and I'm receiving it from Commissioner Sachs. So we're going to compile it all together, and we're going to send it out in the email as soon as possible, and it will go in the meeting summary. Okay. We don't have any other questions here. You don't see anything there, State Attorney? Nope, I don't see that.
No,
So,
and thank you, everyone.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you have me back. And it's great to, again, Dr. Lori, love your group, and thank you for everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just to finish up with our program, thank you all for coming. It was a really terrific day with State Attorney Aronberg, gave an excellent explanation. And just for next month, there's going to be something special about hurricanes. We'll get some information, probably from the Office of Resilience, and they're going to be answering a few questions about why we might be having an earlier hurricane season. And that's a scary thing, but we'll learn about that, and maybe some emergency steps that the county has, maybe some new things too, that the county will be able to provide for us. So that will be next month's meeting. Thank you all for attending, and thank my co-host, Paul Finkelstein, who does an excellent job, and Mike and Katie Adler. Hello. Good to see you. We really appreciate our membership. And again, welcome Dakota and Eagle Point. See you next month.